Welcome to the RoundTable. This is episode
74.
Okay, 74. I almost said 43.
It's okay.
I don't know why.
Hey, 43 and 73, they both.
That's really similar.
Yeah,
it is. They're really close.
Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome to the RoundTable. This is episode 74. I'm Jenny Walker, the social media ministry leader here at Life Church. And this is Mike Hill, our lead pastor.
Oh, good
You're
job,
welcome.
Jenny.
Thank
good
you.
job.
Make
Make sure you don't cut out the first part either, Nick.
No, you really.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do we always do that?
We
We
never.
never.
Because it makes it unique.
Okay, that's
That's
fine.
a lot better.
That's
the
fine.
uniqueness of it.
It's real.
It is
Authentic.
real. It is real.
That's what I'm saying.
Very
make
real.
Make it unique and authentic.
Yeah.
And don't forget to welcome.
Oh, I know.
our-
I wasn't going to. Our special guest, Heather Wilson, and she is on the worship team, and she's Nick's wife. Well, no, Nick is her husband.
There you go.
There we go. I meant that first.
That's right.
Option B.
It's funny because Nick is from Huntington, but
Right.
he'll go places and they'll be like, "Are you Heather's husband?" And he's like, "Wait a minute, this is my
yes.
stomping ground."
That's so funny.
Which that's the part that, when I was saying, like, I know you, but I don't know a lot about you. Like, you're not never grew up around here. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about you. Because people, again, from the church who would see you on stage would be like, know you from a face. But,
Right.
And I'm assuming everybody that's involved in the school system knows you. Because you're kind of a
Yeah.
famous teacher.
A famous teacher.
I am. I know
Really?
more people under the age of 10 probably than I do adults. Like we go even Fort Wayne or somewhere else and it's Mrs. Wilson. And Nick's like, really? We can't
But
go out
you've
to
been
dinner?
in teaching for a long time.
This is year 10
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
in Huntington
Yeah.
Valley
Yeah, so that's
schools.
what I mean. It's like these even older people now that have been through, and so she's
Yeah.
famous.
I mean, she's a good teacher.
Yeah. My first group of fifth graders are seniors this year.
Wow.
So before that, the 2 years before that, I was a paraprofessional in the special education room
Wow.
at Northwest Elementary because there were no teaching jobs to be had.
Really?
So yeah, they were riffing teachers and getting rid of them. And now there's a teacher shortage.
I was
Yeah,
going to say, that's
yeah.
not the case now,
Right.
right?
It's not, no. I mean, we're hiring people without teaching degrees at this
What?
point. So
That's what
Any
happened-
degrees?
That's happening with Emma.
you have to have a degree.
A degree.
Emma has her 4-year degree in something. I have no idea. But she's working at Riverview, and they're working her through a program to help her get her
Wow.
teaching degree. Because, again, I don't think that, who do you hire?
That's amazing.
She got hired on the spot, I think, not this year, but the last year, because they couldn't find anybody.
Wow.
You're willing? You're willing to work with middle schoolers? What?
That's crazy.
Which would be tough.
Yes.
I think. Because you started with fifth graders, I mean, other than special education.
Yeah, fifth grade. And then I moved to second grade. Now I do reading intervention. So I work with struggling readers and it's precious.
Precious.
Like they sound out words, like k-a-t,
Yeah.
rug. And I'm like, no, not rug.
Oh my gosh.
The word is not rug.
How did they teach you to do that? Like, how do you teach them to do that? I guess.
Oh, there's so many steps.
To what, say rug?
I just don't think I could teach somebody that I could do it, but I couldn't. I don't know.
There's so many tricks. Like
Right.
only blend the first two sounds and then tack on the third sound. Or
That's patience.
Oh,
That is
Well,
total
before
patience.
we get into your history, would you say that less kids read now than that they did before?
yeah. Unfortunately.
So our kids read all the time. Like my kids used to have headlamps. So when they went to bed, they
Yeah.
would read when they would go to bed. And
That's cute.
and there's tons of kids now that I'll ask them, like, have you read this book or have you read this book? And they don't read anymore. Like they
yeah.
don't,
Even my own children, I try to
Don't
encourage
like to
it, but
But they
so
read their
that's sometimes
phone.
a punishment.
They read their phone. That's really reading.
Give me your phone, get a book.
Blogs. That's reading.
That's reading.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, I know. But
physical
But is there
books.
value in reading a book?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they make you smarter.
Yeah. Well, and again, I mean, I think it broadens your horizon.
Vocabulary.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just wondered because it seems to me like that's kind of a lost art now. Somebody picking up a book and reading it, or Audible. Maybe we ought to get kids on Audible.
I
See?
think listening
Like
to
teaching
books.
them to read, but then also like getting excited about story.
Yeah.
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 You know what I mean? Like, I
yeah.
think that's the missing thing is like My kids love to read because of the story.
The imagination.
Yeah, that's what I
comes
mean.
with
Like
it.
their imagination was going, and they love that kind of stuff. And so, maybe if you get them on Audible and get these books that have like all kinds of different things. Like I told, if your kids don't listening or reading the Bible, if you get them that on Audible, they have the Bible reading, but it's like you hear birds, you hear nails, you hear wind.
That's cool.
When the devil talks, it sounds like the devil. I mean, it's like all kinds. So when you hear a story, it's so much different.
Yeah.
Brings it to life.
Yeah, it does. It just brings it. Yeah, just like the Chronicles of Narnia. Like
Ooh, I love
it's all kinds of
Chronicles.
different characters with different voices. They call that something, but anyway, yeah. Sorry, that was off the subject.
Narrative.
I just wondered if you saw
Narrator.
less people reading.
Yeah, and then it correlates to their writing too. So like when I taught second grade, every story ended with, and then she died. Or, and then she woke up. It was every story
my
ended with
gosh.
either death or you woke up and it was all a dream.
Oh, wow.
That was how all of their stories ended. So we spent a month probably on how to write a good ending to your story.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Wow.
See, I want to be a good writer. I so wish I could write.
You don't think you are?
I write like I talk. And so, like when I journal, if you read my journal, it probably sounds stupid because it's like I'm talking, And so
Yes.
but that's not the way to write.
But that's a good rough draft.
No.
That's a good place to
For
start.
sure that. But Sherry would always remind me, she's like, you're a terrible writer. You're a great speaker. You're terrible at writing. Because again, it doesn't, like I'm assuming the person reading it would, because that's always been my dream. I want to write a book. But yeah, that'll never happen because I can't write.
Well,
at
you can
all.
have somebody else write it for you.
Get a team. Get a team
Yeah.
to write
a
it.
team
There you
writing.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but I always said like so much fun to think through like going and writing about something because I love to journal and I love to, take those thoughts and get them out of your head and put them down. And then once you start writing something down, there's something about processing that doesn't happen when it's still in your head.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Once you start to write it down. And I always said too, like after Sherry died, what one of the greatest gifts to my kids were? She's been journaling since we started dating at 15.
That's
And
amazing.
so she has like what our dates were like. She has what we did, and she can see it in their handwriting,
That's
in her
cool.
handwriting, like the things that she put down. I'm like, what a gift, right? For them to be able to go back and
Yeah.
look at all of those things. What was she thinking? What was going on? Like that's something that's just will last forever,
Yeah.
But
I wish everybody would do that.
yeah. Well, you do now.
Yeah, not as much as that, but yeah.
Well, yeah.
But that would be nice, like thinking about your kids, like having that. Just
To be able to give it away. Or even just like, what were you thinking when?
Yeah.
Certain things were happening, so you can go back and you can see like when kids were born or when the kids were doing certain things, she would write down like what she was thinking and what was going on and what she was praying for them. And
See, I wish I would have had that.
yeah,
to look
it's just
back
fun.
on.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And when she's gone, those are gifts
Exactly.
you can't. Yeah, you just can't. Everything else is just like you get a ring or you get a dress.
That's
you
not
get,
the same.
It's not even close,
Right.
To what you can get from going back and looking to what somebody was thinking about
Yeah.
and what they were praying about and what was going on in their life. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why we said to our audience, if for any other reason other than a gift to your children, you should journal.
Mm-hmm.
Just for that reason. I mean, even if you don't like it, try to figure it out of like, just to think someday you'll be gone and it'll be the most precious gift your children will ever have because
Yeah.
they'll know you in a way that no one can stand on a stage and say it. Mm-hmm. They just can't.
yeah.
And nobody can honestly, even from a spouse's standpoint, you can't say it either because the innermost thoughts that go inside of a journal are different than,
Right.
what we as spouses share about each other. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
journal just for that reason.
Yes. Yes.
Anyway, okay, so
Go journaling.
off the subject. Are you a journaler, Heather?
I have had phases of journaling. Yeah. But you were talking about like looking back at what you've been praying about and then seeing God answer big prayers. And
Yeah.
that's neat for me to look
Yes.
back and go, oh gosh, 3 years ago I was praying. A friend of mine has triplets and they were really, really sick. And so we were praying for these triplets and now they're 5 and flourishing. and-
Wow.
yeah.
That's so awesome.
Crazy.
Yeah, that part is cool. Yeah, when you can go back and like this was a season and this is what we're praying for and now there was an answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so tell us a little bit about you. Where are you? Because I think I know where you're from, but I don't really.
Guess. Try to guess.
Take a guess.
It starts with a V.
A V.
It does.
It's in Ohio.
Vincent.
Vincennes. That's
Ohio?
right. Indiana.
Yeah.
Dang
Southern
it.
Indiana.
Okay, wrong.
Yep.
Yeah. Because you went to college like no. Were you down there? Is Vincennes a college?
There is a college. Yep, junior college there.
Look
That's
at
where I met
you.
Nick.
No, don't look at me. I just remember
my
at
gosh.
some point in the conversation.
But that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, so you grew up.
I grew up in Vincennes.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit of how you grew up. Like family, life, faith. How did it all fit together? Did you grow up do you have a lot of brothers and sisters? Like, I know none of these things.
Yeah, that's crazy. We've known each other for a while.
No, I know. Just tells you how bad of a person I am.
No, we just have other things to talk
Exactly.
about. So my parents divorced when I was really little. I was like 3 or 4. And then my mom remarried when I was in kindergarten. So I grew up mom and stepdad and my sister, Melissa. She's 2 years younger than me. And we get along great now, but not so much growing up. We just picked at each other, you know?
That's close in age for girls.
Yeah, for sure. Fought over boys
Yeah.
and clothes and all the things. But it's funny because, like, as an adult, now I know that my parents started going to church because they wanted us to have the opportunity to know Jesus, and they thought it was too late for them. So,
Really?
Wow.
yeah, I went on my walk to Emmaus, and my stepdad wrote that in my letter to me.
Really?
That they thought it was too late for them, and quickly found out that obviously it wasn't. But that was the whole reason that we started going to church, because they wanted to give us that chance. And so the lady that ran my daycare when I was little, she started as the youth pastor at the church close to us. So we kind of shifted. We had gone to church. My stepdad was in the military, and so his military chaplain was the pastor at a little country church, like a stand up if you're able kind of church.
Yeah.
And so we went there.
Stand up if you're able.
Yep.
I have not heard that. I'm going to use that sometime. That's a good
Stand
one.
if you're able.
Yes.
Like reading verses and stuff.
Yes,
Yeah.
like the responsive
Because they're
readings
all
and all
old.
of that.
Oh,
You-
okay. I get
the
it.
whole,
Yes,
like,
yeah.
They actually do say that because all the people are old.
Oh, I thought it was like, when they
no.
say verses and when they say verses, you're supposed to stand.
Yeah,
But if you're able.
Yeah,
'cause-
they
Okay,
add
I
if you're
get it.
able because
Got
they're a bunch
you.
of old people.
Got you.
So then we moved churches and came to the one that was closer to us, and that's the church I grew up in, and that's where Nick and I got married. And
Well,
so I went there the whole.
guys, because I'm curious about how was because one of the things we're seeing today is a lot of divorce, right? So that's pretty prevalent. In fact, I would say that's pretty normal, right? A lot of divorced families, and then a lot of blended families. Like I would say that's probably more normal than a normal family. Is that the right word? That's not. I shouldn't say normal. So a
More prevalent.
non-divorced family and divorced blended families, they're at least 50-50 now, if not more blended families than, families that have stayed together. How much of effect did that have on you? Did it have any of effect? Like, did it matter to you as you were growing up that wasn't a big deal. Like, you just kept rolling with the punches, never really made that much of a difference to you in that. And
No, my dad and stepmom lived in Florida. They moved to Florida when I was, middle of elementary school. And so I had mom and stepdad that loved me very much. I had dad and stepmom that loved me very much. And
yeah, so as a kid, that's what I'm trying to figure out, because so it can still be good, right? Like, that's what I'm trying to walk that journey of, is that even though it didn't work out for you, you still had a great relationship with your dad, a great relationship with your mom, and with your...
And they didn't talk nasty about each other. And, with my dad being so far away, he didn't get to come to ball games and choir concerts and dance recitals and, all of that. But I think those are the things that I'm sad about that he missed out on. But
do you still have a relationship with him?
yeah, they lived in Florida. Hurricane Irma a few years ago wiped them out.
Oh, wow.
So dad moved to New Harmony, which is down by Evansville.
Oh, okay.
So
he's closer.
Yeah, so
closer. I don't see him much more, but we still talk.
Right. Yeah. So you still have a relationship and it's still good. And
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, so you went to church growing up.
Yep.
Right. And then,
we were there Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, vacation Bible school. I was thinking about this not too long ago. Somebody mentioned something that sparked it, but we had something called Kids Club. And it was the first Saturday of every month. Parents just drop their kids off so they could go do their grocery shopping or whatever.
That's amazing.
And we learned Bible stories and songs and ate snacks, and it was fun.
wow.
Yeah.
So for you, because we ask everybody the same question. So you grew up with faith. So was faith an important part of your decision making in high school? It's like when you went through high school, because this is what we're trying to, well, one of the things we keep asking everybody is we're still trying to figure out in a high school generation, right now, it's a challenge to be a believer, and it's a challenge to live out your faith. I would say it's a challenge to live out your faith. I mean, you have high schoolers, so maybe you can tell us more, but I'm assuming that it's hard to make decisions based upon your faith now. But when you were growing up, was it easy? Like, did you, because of your faith, was it an important part of your decision making as you went through high school, or was there challenges, in that process?
I think we had a huge youth group. I mean, we did things together a lot. So, and like I said, we were at church all the dang time. So,
right.
It was definitely a driving force. I mean, I made mistakes. I did stupid stuff as a teenager, but for the most part,
it was real.
It was in my head.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But at least it was a part of, for you, in that all of us makes mistakes in the decisions we make. My point was like, but it was still something that you could come back to.
Right.
Oh,
like, this is something that helped with my convictions, helped with my decision making, helped with my future choice of a husband. I mean,
well, even so, like the youth group, that means that you have friends that are around that too. So that matters. Yeah. You are who you hang with.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but that's even today, like, they've said this over the last 6-7 years, high school youth groups have essentially evaporated, because kids get their license and they're always busy and it's hard to get together and it's hard to have, that kind of community. Youth groups aren't like they were 20 years ago.
But we didn't have cell phones and we weren't connecting in that way. So if you wanted to connect with people, you had to go where the people were.
Right. So if you wanted to be social, you had to do that.
Yeah.
So Nick was from Huntington. So how is it that you and Nick met?
So we both went to Vincennes University. It's a junior college.
Okay.
And so I ended up there. I didn't want to go to VU. My mom was a teacher there, and I did not want to go to VU. I wanted out of my hometown. You know how kids are.
Yeah.
Right.
And I actually made jokes about I will never date somebody that goes to VU because you only go there because you can't get into a bigger school or,
Is that really true? That's
probably not, but that's what I thought.
I didn't know. Like, is junior college, is that why?
But that was your
exist?
hometown too.
Yes.
So that would be, you would think that of that.
But I got a scholarship that paid for the first 2 years of school.
Whoa.
If I went to VU,
Okay.
I would pay for that. And then I could transfer to any state school for the other 2.
Whoa.
Did you always know what you wanted to do?
I wanted to be a teacher. I was
really?
like, oh yeah, dead set on it from really a young age. You look back, my parents kept this diary thing. So each year they'd put my school photo in and then pictures and report cards and all of that. And you always filled in what I want to be when I grow up. And it's teacher.
Wow.
Well, then I started school and realized that you don't make any money as a teacher. And I was really good at math. So I decided I'm abandoning ship. And so I got a business degree.
Whoa.
And I started
Really?
working in banking and I sold life insurance. This little 20-something, I'm like literally 20 years old selling people life insurance and talking to them about estate
so
planning
funny.
and all of that.
Wow.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
And Nick was going to Vincennes.
And I think that's wild. Like for him to just like come, you know what I mean? I don't know. It just
What was he going
happened.
there for?
Lots of different things. He started, I think, in athletic training. They have a really good athletic training program, so it makes sense. Then he got involved in the campus ministry there and got excited about audio recording and stuff like that. So he was studying audio recording when I met him.
Studying what?
Audio recording.
What do you do with that?
I know. What is that
You
like TV
work
or
in a
radio?
No, you work in a music studio.
Oh.
Recording bands
you
and
mean
stuff.
like the guy running everything?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. I didn't even know that was a thing. I thought everybody just learned it from somebody else. Like you go to
He was
school
going to get a
learn-
degree
school.
to be
Wow.
a
So-
producer or something.
And that's what you ended up graduating with?
No, I graduated with general studies.
Okay.
A lot of credits.
Hey, yeah.
Why
least
do
you
you say it
graduated.
like that, Nick? Like because you just got off track or because
School isn't always the best for me.
okay.
I feel you.
Yeah. Just meaning you didn't
studying
like it like the whole studying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awful. Who wants to study?
Why no? But why go to college if you hate school?
Well, he met his wife there.
There was a reason.
no, I
was
know,
the
but don't you
reason.
think that is interesting? How many people like don't like school, but then they go to college anyway?
Well, I think it's because of that's the thing that you're supposed to do.
You're supposed to what?
Go to like you're supposed to graduate and then go to school immediately after.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
like
then
a
you
lot
think
of
you're going to
Isaac's-
get a job making the same amount of money that your parents make and right out of school. And that's never the case.
Yeah.
Did your mom being, because she was a teacher, so did that affect you too? Like seeing her, growing up with her?
Sort of. She worked in accounting, in the accounting field.
Okay.
When I was little, she worked like as the accountant for the eye doctor in town and stuff like
Okay.
that. But then she pursued a career in teaching and
That's
she got
so
her
interesting.
doctorate degree. And
Kind of like you.
yeah, I just keep going to school. I'm getting my master's degree right now. And it's
Right.
like, I feel like I'm going to be in school forever.
Oh, Lord. So you guys met in the first year that you were there or?
Yep.
Okay.
Nick
Wow.
had been there. Had you been there 2 years before I came?
Yeah, it would have been 2.
Yeah. He's 2
Oh,
years
so
older
it's a
than me.
4-year school.
It's a 2-year school.
Oh. Well, how long was he there?
Well, he changed majors, so he had to stay.
So you just take a
Because-
2-year and turn
because
it
he
into
met
a
his wife.
4-year.
Yeah.
yeah.
He stayed because of Heather.
I thought this was about Heather.
No, I know, but I didn't know that was possible. So like
Yeah.
you could just keep going.
You just keep going.
Wow.
It's cheap. I mean, comparatively to other higher education institutions, it's a relatively inexpensive place to go.
It doesn't cost $47,000 a year. No.
That's insane.
It's crazy.
Stupid.
So we went to the same campus ministry.
Okay.
Not that I was a bad kid, but like I had said before, I had made some mistakes in high school and wanted to like reinvent myself in college. And so I wanted to go to this campus ministry and I went there and Nick was playing guitar and it was like, immediately, he's cute. But I had said,
Did
I'm
he
not
have
dating
hair?
anybody. He did. He had a lot of hair. Yeah. Like
I just wondered. I don't know.
highlights even. Like
Did he really?
He did. I need to find a picture.
You do.
Yes, Nick with highlights.
Yeah. And he wore a visor.
Was he? So he was kind of
He
the
was
prep?
the cool guy. Yeah.
He was the preppy kid?
Yeah.
Wow. Is that how you see him now? Is he kind of the preppy guy still?
No.
No, he can't be preppy with a beard. Like that.
No, he's the
doesn't
hippie
look
guy.
Hmm?
Everybody thinks he's the hippie guy that doesn't
hippie?
wear shoes.
Yeah.
Who says, why are you wearing shoes today?
good. Yeah.
He was in so he led worship at our campus ministry and then they were in a band. There were like 4 or 5 of them together that were in a band. And I thought that was pretty cool.
So did you guys date for long before you got married?
No.
No.
Really?
Okay.
So my last name has always been Wilson. I was born Heather Wilson.
Yes, that's what I was hoping
What?
you'd say.
Yeah.
Did you not know this?
Listen, I'm almost embarrassed
Oh
now
my
that
gosh.
we talked that like I've never had
Here
a
we go.
conversation with Heather. I almost feel worse than
This
I did
is
before we
amazing.
started.
So I was born Heather Wilson.
Okay.
And then when I met Nick Wilson, it was like, oh, we can't date. That's weird. You have the same last name as me. And he had a girlfriend and she lived across the street from me. So I
Like growing up, like she
couldn't
was
go
from
there.
the hometown?
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
that's weird.
yeah. So
But in come Heather.
Right.
well, he tells the story so sweetly. I came and auditioned for the worship team and they had played the same song over and over and over for all these auditions. And so when I walked in, he and his friend Justin were sitting against their amps like this. They were just over it.
And then you started
And then I
singing,
started singing.
and he
Yeah.
was like,
He says he sat up straight and he looked at Justin and he said, I'm going to marry that girl.
How do people know?
oh, wow.
Really?
So,
Did you know when you saw Sherry? Like, was it like immediately like, I'm going to marry her?
But this is what I said. This is the weirdest thing. I don't know if it's like God is just, I don't know. Yes. So I told people when I was 15 years old,
Yeah.
when I turned 60, I'm marrying her. And used to have people make fun of me all the time.
I bet.
I told people the first time I met Sarah, like I'll marry her.
That's so wild.
You know,
Yeah, I
and
remember
it's
you
the
saying
only
that.
2 people I've ever dated in my life.
Yeah.
So I've only
You just
dated 2
know.
people in my life, and it was like, I'm going to marry her, and I'm going to marry her. And so I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm naive if that's, or I don't know, or
I just
God
hear
just
that a lot.
settles something in my life. You know, it's one of those 2 things. But as soon as I met her, I mean, Sarah wasn't thinking that way, neither was Sherry.
I feel like
You
the
know,
girl
neither-
never is.
neither one of
the
them
woman
were
never
like-
is.
like, whoa,
You're
hold,
it.
hold
Yeah.
your
Like,
horses.
Yeah,
I'm like,
right.
hey, I'm in. And, you know, yeah.
This is interesting.
Yeah, so for sure. So Nick knew right away.
I guess so.
And where were you with it?
Well, I
Like
wasn't
when
gonna,
you guys started dating, like how long did it take for you to be like, oh yeah, he's the highlight man?
it was pretty quick.
The highlight, man. I thought you meant literally like highlights, like of the highlight of my life.
Like the,
I get it. I
highlights.
forgot. I
Multiple
wasn't there
meaning.
yet.
Yeah, the highlights. So how long did you guys date till you got married?
Well, we didn't date very long, and then I was pregnant with Emma.
Okay.
So that was like a whoa.
Yeah.
What? So then, you get all the people that are like, oh, they're just getting married because they're having a baby. And
Yeah.
Did you really?
Not the case.
Did you really get people to say that to you?
Yeah.
They would actually
I'm
say
sure.
it to you?
No, they would
they
say
just
it.
kind of like hint around other people.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it always gets back.
Oh, yeah.
Stupid people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was 19 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you guys were dating, got married, and were still in school, or were out of school?
I think we had finished school because we got married in December. I think I graduated in December.
Okay.
So
And
that's
so you stayed down there. So you were in
we stayed
Vincennes for a while.
Yep. We lived there till Bennett was born.
And so Nick was a worship leader down there?
Nick worked at Lowe's. He was in management at Lowe's, and
you're selling life insurance.
And I'm working at a bank selling life insurance.
I love that.
Wow. I mean, so different. Involved in church, not involved in church?
Yeah, and actually that's when we got involved with church plant.
Oh, really?
Which was awesome.
Okay.
I mean, it was just a neat experience. So the person that I was talking about that ran the daycare that I went to when I was little, then she was my youth pastor. Then she decided to plant a church.
Oh,
Really?
cool.
She, had been thinking about it and praying
Right there
about it
in
for a long time.
Vincennes.
Yep. And it's called Thursday Church, and they still meet on Thursday nights. They've
To
added,
this day?
yeah, they've added Sunday mornings, but they do Thursday nights and Sunday mornings. Because
And what was the thought around Thursday?
know.
I'm just curious.
she had a heart for people that couldn't come on Sunday mornings. Like maybe you work in a field where you don't get off on Sunday mornings, like people that work at the hospital or firefighters or police or whatever. So they had been praying about it, and that's what God laid on her heart. And
Yeah, it
so
was
we got to be a
crazy
part of
because
that.
I always thought that too. Like Nick, were you here when we started Saturday Church?
Really?
Oh, it was, if I was a believer, it'd be my choice of church. So instead of so we do it on Saturday nights, and instead of donuts, so people bring in chips and dip and, so it's kind of like it's just a cooler vibe for me,
Like
Saturday
nighttime.
nights. And it was all of the professionals who could never make it on Sundays. So they were the nurses and like people who work weekends all the time would come, but it never took off. Like people didn't, they're like, you go to church on Sunday. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? Why? Not me, man. I go to church on Saturday anytime.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like that didn't matter to me because I love the idea. I think it's a great idea to create opportunities
It's
for
different.
people who can't, make it on a
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been to
Sunday morning.
Saturday church.
You've what?
I've been to a Saturday church.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I mean, we used to go to the chapel all the time on Saturday church.
Oh, because they just had it as an extra service. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if they do now, though. This was a long time ago.
But either way, so she went on, planted the church, and you guys were highly involved in it?
Yeah. I mean, we had little kids at this point.
Right.
Emma and Isaac were both pretty young, but I helped in children's ministry. And that was kind of when it was like, okay, God, I hear you that you want me to be a teacher, but I make,
so that's when
I
it
make
started
really
clicking?
good money selling life insurance.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So at that point, then you decided to switch careers.
Yeah, I left my job at the bank and went back to school.
Ugh.
I know. And then
Wow.
found out I was pregnant with Bennett. So,
Wow.
yeah. So it
Staying in
was,
school pregnant.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Oh my gosh.
But we made it.
Yeah.
We survived. Then we were feeling like my parents moved. So my mom got her doctorate degree. They moved to follow her career.
Okay.
And we didn't want to raise our kids without grandma and grandpa close by.
Wow.
So we had prayed about moving up here to be closer to his family. And it was the craziest thing. It was like we prayed on Sunday. Tuesday, there was a job, like a lateral move that Nick could make within Lowe's.
Whoa.
From Vincennes to Marion. He called about it or, applied online or whatever, had an interview Thursday, was hired on Friday.
Wow.
I mean, it was
Really?
insanely fast.
That is crazy.
Wow.
Crazy. So he moved up here to start working, and I stayed back because Emma was in school at that point. So I stayed back with 3 children.
And how old was
little
Emma at this
children.
time? How old was she?
Emma was in first grade.
First grade.
Isaac was in preschool,
Okay.
and Bennett was an infant.
Okay.
Oh my
So
goodness.
It was a lot. I mean, my family was there, my grandparents and my
Right.
sister. And
Right.
so I had support, but yeah, like the furnace stopped working. So I'm calling Nick, baby crying. It's freezing in here. He's like, call your dad. I'm like, okay. He's like, I'll be there in 4 hours, but there's nothing I can do until then.
Because that's how far Vincennes is, 4 hours away.
about 4 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And is it similar? Because again, I always ask people like, what would make you move to Huntington?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because was it one big school back then? Like just Huntington North was like the only high school?
As far as I know.
Okay. I don't know when that actually happened.
Yeah.
No, that was a long, long time ago.
Oh, it was.
That was a long, long time
Okay.
ago.
Well, I didn't know that.
The Huntington
Like,
North High School?
the idea that there's only one high school in a community of 40,000 people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
So we had county, like within our county, there were multiple schools: South Knox, North Knox,
Right. That's how it
Vincennes,
was
Lincoln.
when we
like
grew up. So there's South Adams,
Yeah.
Belmont, and Adams Central. So there's tons of schools.
Yeah.
So it was always weird to me that
It
in
is
a rural
weird.
community that a school system would choose to have one great big high school.
Yeah.
You know, that
Especially from
everybody
30
had.
miles away, like from not Wabash. Oh
Warren.
my gosh. Warren,
Warren.
yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Like to make high schoolers drive in the
Right.
snow that, you know?
Well, either way, I mean, it was just long. So I always would wonder, like, what's the draw for people to come to Huntington? You know, what is the big? And the time when we were looking to plant here, people's like, well, it's a great bedroom community to Fort Wayne. So like you can live in
yeah.
Huntington and still get the ruralness, but you're like really close to Fort Wayne. So you don't have to pay higher taxes and you don't have to do. And that's what I had heard. But again, I didn't know from like what you grew up with to coming to Huntington, was it it was just the same.
Felt pretty similar.
Yeah. it wasn't
Other than the high school thing.
yeah.
I mean, I graduated with 300
Whoa.
people, and Nick's graduating class was like, what, 600?
It was low 400s.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was thinking it was a lot higher.
Yeah. And that's what that was for me. My graduating class was 90 people, you know, and so weird to come over. Cause I think Brady, when he went through, him and Corbin, I thought they were close to 500 and something.
Yeah, ours was close to 600.
Because when Jeremy
Crazy.
graduated, it was only 400 and something, or
Really?
390. And then when I went to Sarah's kids' graduation at Northfield, 67 people.
Oh, gosh.
Because
That's
I was
fast.
like dreading it.
Whoa.
I was dreading it. I was thinking Huntington North, like I need something to read the whole
Yes,
time because
yeah.
they parade every one of them kids across the stage. Well,
They pray over them?
So when you parade.
Oh, I
At Huntington, you know, at Huntington, like
Yes.
there's so
Oh, yes.
many kids to go
Oh, it's
through, and you're
hours.
just sitting there waiting for your kid. And I walked in the gym at Northfield, and I'm like, how many people was in this class? Because there ain't very many chairs here. And like, 67. And I'm like, wow. Yeah, that's a
30
big
minutes.
That's a big shift. I was
Yeah.
like, hey, yay, raw for not having to sit through a long graduation. So transition, what was the hardest part of the trial to transition? Anything?
Not having people.
Okay.
And I didn't work. I stayed home with the kids at that point. And so, like, how do you meet people if you don't work outside of your home? And
Yeah.
and we didn't have a church family at that point. And that was probably the hardest part.
Yeah, and so how did you find both? Church family, because you came from, which is really neat, like you're coming from this cool church plant,
Right.
thriving, good things are going on.
Yeah.
And I've heard people even say this before, like part of the reason they don't want to move is because of their church.
Yeah.
Like because of the church family and the people they're in, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
You know, that the church factors in a decision of whether you're going to stay somewhere, you know. And so for you, when you guys got here, how did you find relationships and how did you find a church?
I came to like a field trip or something with Emma's first grade class, and the principal was like, "Hey, so we heard you're going to school to be a teacher. Do you want a job?"
Are you serious?
Wow.
I was like, I do. Talk to me more about this. So
Wow.
I just worked part-time at that point in the resource room in special education as a paraprofessional. And
This was at Northwest.
at Northwest.
Was
Yeah.
Jay Peters around then?
He had just left. It was
Okay.
Terry Pierce was my principal.
He was
at
my
that point.
principal.
Jay Peters was our kids' principal.
Yeah, I loved him.
Well, I mean, our older kids. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Isaac was there. Your
Was
Isaac
he?
was there when I worked there. Yeah.
That's so cool.
So I did that, and we put Bennett in a babysitter that lived just right down the street from the
Right.
school. And
Right.
so then I started meeting people that way.
So that was a big
That
thing.
was
So the job
huge.
opened up the ability to
And then it was like, where do you go to church? Where do you go to church? And we started, checking out places. And
Was Patty there then when you were there?
I don't think
not at
Patty ever
Northwest.
taught at Northwest.
Yes, she did.
I think she did sixth
did?
grade.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
that's how Taylor had her.
Her. Yeah.
How Taylor had her, yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I always thought Patty was in town other than the Catholic school. Huh. That's interesting. Yeah. So
Well,
what church did you end
yeah.
up at?
We went to Union Church.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because Union has always been a pretty big, popular church in
I
Huntington.
think it was probably like Coffee Divine was
Yes.
a big thing.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so
I
I'm a
forgot about
coffee
that.
lover. So
Yes.
they kind of hook you in. And they had Saturday church too. So
I
if
forgot about
if Nick had to
Coffee
work
Divine.
on Sunday morning, then we'd go Saturday night.
Right. Right. So
that
you guys
worked
got
out.
plugged in at Union and so let's talk about, again, journey raising kids, because one of the things I am interested in, you're in the thick of it, right? You've raised kids and you're trying to help them navigate not only life in general, but trying to figure out faith and how does it all fit in. And so in that process, what do you see as some of the greatest challenges that are, because you're also teaching some of these kids, what do you see as some of the greatest challenges that face, our young people today when it comes to growing up to be great young men and women and being men and women of faith? So what are some of those challenges that maybe you see as a parent or you see as a teacher or you've just seen in the community in general?
I think our kids, like our personal children,
Okay.
they want to be accepted and known. I guess they get a lot of that from me. And I don't mean to say it like a negative because there's a lot of positives that come from my Enneagram 3 self. But that is
Enneagram 3.
I'm a 3.
I've never heard of a 3.
A
You've
3.
never heard
I
of a
am
3?
an achiever. So I will run myself ragged to prove that I can do whatever it is you've said I can't do.
Really?
Yeah. My biggest fear is to let people down or to feel like I haven't achieved something, like I've failed in some
Wow.
way. Yeah. Yeah.
I always
So
forget
kids
what
get
my
that from me.
Enneagram thing is. Michelle would just bring it up in meetings when it had something to do with me.
I
not-
love the Enneagram.
Me not being good.
I love it.
You're like, well, Mike, this is representation of your Enneagram something, like whatever I was.
Okay, but if you're really into it, then you
It
would.
makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
No,
Like,
again, I'm not saying it was wrong. It was just funny because I didn't know. I've never done them or done the Enneagram
oh wait,
thing.
you've never done it? She just
Michelle
diagnosed
just
you.
said,
Oh,
you are an Enneagram something.
That's funny.
Which was, I thought it was way interesting. And then she would bring it up in staff meetings when
The challenger.
I
think
can't
he's a
remember
challenger?
what I think I am that. Like, and so she
One?
would bring it up. No, I think it's
a
8 or
a 7 or
do
an
you know,
8?
Nick?
Oh, 8, yes.
Nick's looking it up.
I don't know. Honestly,
Maybe
I
a 1.
forget. And she didn't mean it bad, but she would just bring it up. Now, remember, Mike, you are an Enneagram, so this is why every time you say this, people are like taking it this way.
You're a
Yeah.
1 for
Yeah, because
sure.
I don't really
Ones
think
do
about
that.
Yeah, I don't think about any of that stuff. I just like say it, and I still love you. I'm just like
Yeah,
I don't
7s
it out
don't.
there.
I don't mean it. You
Right.
know, I don't mean it bad. So anyway,
Us
so
sevens
anyway,
can't
so my
handle
kids-
that.
Enneagram 3s are not pleasers. That's not what you said.
Yes.
Achiever is the
Achiever.
title, but yes, people pleaser.
You
big
care
time.
what people think.
Yeah.
You are a people pleaser?
Oh yeah.
It's part of her 3.
Nick. Oh,
yeah.
So I think our kids get some of that from me, like the wanting to be part of something and not wanting to let anybody down. And so they run themselves pretty ragged too.
Okay.
So I think for them, it's I don't want to tell somebody no, even if I think it's not the right thing, because then they're not going to like me or
Yeah.
then I'm
Right.
not going to feel accepted or
Right.
whatever. So I think that's a big challenge.
Do you think it's a challenge to live a life of faith today for young people? Or is it because again, we still are in the Bible Belt, right? Like
Yeah.
we still are in a pretty protected, I guess if that's the right word, community compared to
Yeah.
stuff on the coast. And so do you see it for your own children or maybe for other kids? Is it hard for them to live out their faith or not really?
I really don't think so. I think social media plays a big part in how they're growing up and the comparing themselves to other people and, oh, well, if they don't think that's cool, then I'm not going to do that. Or,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And so raising kids in the world of social media, what's the role of a parent? Like what role should we play in how they interact with social media?
I wish I was an expert on that topic.
Oh, no, I'm not. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
I just don't, I mean, again, because I think everybody has an opinion. I don't really know what I love to hear people's views because I think I would agree with Nick when he said it's not going away.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not going away. And so what is the good and bads of it? And so how do we
It's like
help?
teaching them how to use it safely. Just just like anything, you can have chocolate chip cookies. They're delicious. But if you eat 3 dozen, you're going to
You look
throw
like
up.
this.
And
I mean, this is what happens after 3 dozen chocolate chip cookies.
moderation, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. We've chosen they didn't have devices until they were in middle school.
Okay.
And then we monitor things. I mean, we are their friends on all of their social media platforms, and they charge their phones in our bedroom, and
So
they
when
think
you're-
we're terrible, mean, horrible people for that.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
It's like, well, we pay the bills, so
Right. So when your kids were growing up, did they have like iPhones then? See, my kids, when they got their first phone, was one of those blue things that
funny.
The
like
flip.
it goes up and then you like type on it. It's
That's
not
what
a
we had in
flip.
college.
It was
Like a Nokia.
it was the
blue and it's the thing
yes,
slides and then
yes.
you
Yeah.
you type on it.
I
or
don't remember what it was
something
called,
like
but I
that.
had
But there
one of
wasn't
those.
even. Maybe there was.
and you had to do like, if you wanted C, you had to push it 3 times to
Yeah,
get
I don't
C.
remember
Oh,
what
yeah.
exactly it
T9.
was.
Yes, T9.
I don't remember what it was, but then like
I
the
love
whole
T9.
iPhone idea, I feel like was later.
Yes,
than
it
when
was
my kids-
2004.
I feel like Emma had an iPhone in middle school, but I could be wrong.
No, I just didn't know if like that was the thing because
Yeah.
I don't remember with my kids when iPhones became a thing or when actually kids
2004.
got iPhone.
I literally remember the day.
Why?
Because I was sitting in my mom's office, and I remember reading about it, and I freaked out to my parents, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you have to listen to this!"
And
I
wanted-
made them come in because it wasn't a laptop time then, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I remember freaking out about it
Right.
because I thought it was the coolest thing
That you could get an iPhone.
internet was on the phone because I couldn't comprehend that at the time.
Yeah.
Like literally everything. I don't know. It was just a magical
your
time.
fingertips.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I remember the day.
Right. So either way, you're saying if you monitor it, it can still be a good thing.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when we were quarantined,
Yeah.
they still felt connected to people.
Right.
And then with my family being so far away, it's a way for them to stay connected too.
Right. And so if you were giving advice to parents, what's one of the things that you did is maybe one of the best? Was it the take the phones away at night? Is it the friends piece? Is it what do you think? Because again, I do think that parents are trying to figure it out because I think it's a big navigation of what role should I play and how much access you have to, what this looks like today.
I mean, I think you just have conversations. We have the state police come in to talk to like 4th and 5th grade about digital citizenship.
Oh, wow.
And how that's important and how if you give away personal information online, people can come to your house and take you. And I mean, it scares the daylights out of them, but I think that's good.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
have conversations that are scary. Have the real conversations. Like,
Yeah.
look, if you send pictures of yourself without clothes on, that's considered pornography and it'll be on your record forever. If you have a child pornography charge, you're not getting a job anywhere near a school, anywhere near,
Right.
So, I mean, you have those conversations and make it real. And
Yeah, but maybe this is off the subject, but maybe you guys are an exception to the rule. How many parents are sitting down having those kinds of conversations with their kids?
Yeah.
Like honestly,
Probably
and I'm
not
not.
many.
And again, I'm not saying you have to have these in-depth conversations, but my perspective is there are very few parents having conversations about whether it's phones, whether it's sex, whether it's it's funny to me that it was never taboo. Like talking about certain things was never taboo in our family. Like we just talked about everything. Like you got used to just it's all getting laid out there, so we're having the conversations. And if you didn't want to have the conversations, you probably should have never done it. Right. So we're talking about it, whether you like it or not. But it's funny, when you bring this up to a lot of other people, it's subjects like that are taboo, whether it's talking about sexuality, or even talking about the idea, like you realize like you sending naked pictures out, like some people won't even have that conversation,
which is scary.
But when the state police come and talk to your 5th graders about things that are similar in nature.
So is that normal? Is it normal? Like, does state police do that everywhere?
I don't think so.
I
think we've invited them in to do that.
Because I had never heard of this.
They talk about Snapchat and all the dangerous things that can happen, and then kids are like deleting it off their phone immediately on the bus.
Yeah, because they don't realize.
Are they talking about China owning TikTok and trying to
probably stuff like that?
No,
too.
not China. I thought it was Russia.
No, it's China. I got it wrong. Somebody commented on our thing,
and it was wrong.
Yeah, I think Adam Shoemaker sent me a thing afterwards. Like,
it was
hey,
China.
Mike, it's not Russia, it's China.
Okay, China.
China's like the creator of TikTok and how the information that they take. And he sent the Joe Rogan, is that the guy's name that does a podcast anyway?
Oh, yes.
Joe Rogan has this like, reads the user agreement for TikTok and how much information they take from you and what they take from you.
Which, you know what's kind of crazy? If China did do it, you know when TikTok became like a thing was during COVID. And they started COVID.
No, I know. That's the point.
Which is just wild if you think about it. I've never thought about it. Have you thought about that?
No.
Right? I know.
No.
She's creating
they did it on
conspiracy
purpose.
theories.
I know, I love conspiracy theories.
My point was, do you think, again, our parents having conversations with kids, do you see it, or is it just you guys are an exception? Do you think you are an exception?
I think we're an exception.
Yeah,
I mean, I see it at school when we as teachers say things to them and they're like, what?
Yeah.
We had no idea.
Right.
Which is so scary.
Yeah.
Like to think that they wouldn't think that somebody would be lying
Well,
online.
and even like, don't post a picture of yourself wearing your school t-shirt.
Oh.
Because then everybody knows what school you go to. They can come and take you. I mean, it's just things that are so simple like that they're not having those conversations.
Right. Well, in any conversation at all about, because that's the other thing is, I think parents are so tired now, they don't want to fight battles. So the phone battle, I think very few parents are fighting the phone battle. I mean, they're like, it's the best, I'm tired. It's the best babysitter we've ever owned. Best money we've ever invested in a babysitter. And so whatever. You want to go to bed with it. You want to go to your room with it. I don't want to see you either. I'm not kidding. I mean, I do think that this is because of the ragged pace of society. I think a lot of people are like, just let them do it. Just let them go. Just let them be. Let them have their phone at night. Don't make them charge it in the room. And I think, we got to just try to figure out what is going to be the line and where should we and what dangers do we see and what is our part as parents to be advocates to stand up and say something. Because again, as much as it can be good, I think that it has, again, caused a lot of problems.
Yeah.
Like I said before, I think we live in a world of accepted isolationism, and I think that's what's leading to a lot of teen suicides today that have never been like that before because we as parents wouldn't know if your kid is depressed because they're alone all the time anyway.
Right.
So they're in their room interacting with their own thing and it's not abnormal. When I was a kid, if you were in your room, my parents were like, "Are you drunk? What are you doing in there?
Yeah.
Did you pull the magazine out from under the bed? What are you doing?"
Yes.
Right? Because nobody is in their room. Nobody's in their room for extended period of time. But honestly, I think it's pretty accepted now.
Absolutely.
That it's that way. And I think that, again, back to where is Satan winning the war?
Yep.
Isolating kids is where he's winning.
Yeah.
If he can keep them isolated, and I've said this even for us,
Yes.
The idea is isolation because in isolation he can lie.
Yeah.
Right. But he can't lie in a group. He can say it to you, but if we're in a group, I'd be like, Heather, you're off.
Yeah.
Right.
If we have a relationship, like you're off, and you'd be like, well, this is what I'm thinking. And they're like, nope, that's a lie. Right. Like you can't think that, and even to the point of in marriages, right. We live in same houses, but we're isolated from each other. Right. Like you go down the road and again, I think it's one of Satan's tools is like you go down the road, you sit across the room, you can stay completely engaged and entertained without ever talking to the person beside you. Right? Like you could for sure do that. And I think one of the reason for that tool is because then he can get you alone and no one's ever going to challenge it because we're not even really looking at each other.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're not even really seeing a body language. You're not really understanding what's happening. And so the whole idea of get you alone, keep you in a room, be by yourself, nobody knows any different. And when the thoughts start going, who's going to tell you any different? And I think I mean, think of the kids today. Like a lot of people are like, I didn't know anything was wrong. And I don't mean this bad.
No, right.
But it might be because you never saw them.
Yeah.
You know, and again, I guess I don't want to make light of that. I'm not blaming anybody for what happens in teen suicide, but let's be honest. If you did that 20 years ago, somebody would be like, something's wrong with you. You're depressed.
Yes.
Something's wrong. We need to talk. And there would be an engagement conversation. Today, right or wrong, if somebody is isolated or alone or spends a lot of time by themselves, it's fully accepted.
Yeah.
As normal.
I think about our kids, and they have, you know, like Isaac has Xbox in his bedroom, and he'll sit in there and play games. And I mean, we hear him
Yeah, for sure.
talking to his Xbox. But yeah, I think about that too with my own kids. I didn't really think about that. It's a accepted and normal thing.
Right.
Mom's going to be in this room doing homework. You're going to be in your room doing this.
Right.
Nick's doing whatever
Right.
Nick does.
I mean, when I grew up, I wasn't allowed to have a TV in my room for a certain amount, like until I was a certain age. I wasn't allowed to do a lot of things in my room. So I think there's a TV in every kid's room now, I think. A phone, iPad, something.
Right. But I just think that we have to think through those things because we got to know that, I mean, Satan's greatest tool starts in the head.
Yes.
Right? Like his first go at it, you know, like we're going to be talking about this Sunday. It's, you know, we start the spiritual warfare series. And so one of the biggest things that was kind of like an aha moment to me, I don't know, 5-6 years ago was like he talks about the spiritual realm, like the battles in the spiritual realm. But what he tries to get you to do is bring the battle into the physical realm. This is what Satan does. And he knows that if you're fighting a battle in the physical, your spiritual is always going to hurt. So one of the things that he tries to do is put contention in relationships, right? Because if you're fighting each other, you think that's the enemy and he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Right. And so when you start to fight, whether it's your husband, your wife, your kids, now all of a sudden you became isolated and now he can do things in his head that he could not do when you guys weren't. Right. And so those things happen very strategically because he knows, you know, if you're not isolated, one of the way to isolate you is to help you get mad at somebody.
Right.
Fight with Jenny because she's the enemy, you know, or fight with Nick because he's the enemy. And then all of a sudden when you do that, there's something that happens inside of you that withdraws.
Yeah.
And this is in every fight, right? We withdraw, we get alone.
It's the fight or flight.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, which is weird, then all of a sudden your mind does things that it would never do before.
Yeah, it goes
And
psycho.
it happens in the midst of a fight. It doesn't happen any other time.
Right.
Right. And so again, back to this idea, if tension has happened and somebody goes and be alone, it's not even really that big a deal, right? Because again, we're alone a lot, you know, and it's not really that abnormal.
Yeah,
It's
nobody
not
thinks
really
about it.
like not talking isn't even that abnormal, right? Like for a lot of people sitting in a house at night and not having conversations with people isn't that abnormal. Right. For people today. And so I think using not only fighting, but using isolation, you know, is a way that the enemy is going to continue to get inroads into people or children, you know, that, you know, we're going to have to figure it out. And I don't know what the answer is. Because like I said, I'm not saying just because somebody sits in the room and they're on their phone or they're on their Xbox, that's a terrible thing. But at what point would we know, you know, if something's going on? At what point would we know? Because not even like, are they looking at bad things? Like, that's not even what I'm saying. It's the idea that you're used to being alone.
Yeah, that's scary.
You know, the idea of allowing yourself to process your own thoughts and you never process those thoughts with anybody else.
Yeah.
You know, that thing. Because I think that can be dangerous.
Yes, it can.
When you don't learn to process thoughts with other people, you know, and be able to go to that place.
Yeah.
So anyway, okay, we only got 10 minutes left. So
10 minutes left. Let's
questions
go.
because
Question time.
Question time.
Yes. And also, you said that we were starting it this week. When this airs, it will be last week.
Oh, I'm sorry. What
Maybe.
did I say?
Or 2 weeks ago.
The new sermon series.
Yeah, the new
so
sermon
you
series.
have already listened to it.
Yes, you will.
Okay.
So that will be interesting.
I'm looking forward to it. Nick and I have had conversations about, like, he was up on the worship team this week. So anytime that he or I are in some kind of leadership role, that's when Satan's like,
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
So the night of worship's coming up.
Yeah.
It's going to be great
Yeah.
because we're already feeling it.
Right. No,
Yeah.
and again, I think that for whatever reason, I think we forget that you really have this enemy, and I think we forget what he's really trying to destroy.
Yeah.
You know, and gosh, I hope that's what I'm praying for. I just hope for whatever we talk about for the next 6-7 weeks, however many weeks it is, that there are some things unveiled that people can see so that they can at least be aware, you know, and that's why we're starting this with, you know, the war is real.
Yeah.
You need to know, and we need to understand how it works.
Yep.
So
Yeah, there's a lot
Be
of people
equipped.
excited for this series.
yes.
be good.
So whenever it starts, so you'll have already listened
yes.
to week 1.
Right,
So you'll give
right.
us your feedback on what you
Yes.
think about week 1.
All right. Question. Actually, she said this is not a question. It's from Chris Jackson.
It's not a question.
It's not a question. She says, I don't have a question, but wanted to comment on how much I enjoy watching and listening to her sing. That was sweet. What did you call her, Chris? Deb? Barb.
Yeah. Called her the
See,
wrong
you'll
name.
never
Just
forget
like
that.
yesterday when I called Nathan something.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the same thing. It's the brothers.
Yeah, no, it's okay, Barb.
Yeah, Barb.
I worked at Dairy Queen growing up, and my boss called me Megan. I worked there for 2 years, and she called me Megan. Yeah, the whole time. So,
That's funny.
fun fact.
Tim Yanes.
He has good questions.
Yeah.
He does.
Yeah.
Heather has a beautiful voice. Who are some of her musical influences, and is there any song that she sings that has special meaning to her? She's
Oh,
awesome.
wow.
That is a good question.
Right?
That is a good question.
I love Natalie Grant. She's
yes.
probably my favorite.
That isn't a name I have not heard for a long time.
Yeah,
Like
she's part
old,
of the
right?
Belonging Company at this point, and so
Belonging.
they travel like I'm trying to think of who else, like Elevation and all that. Yeah, so she's the Belonging Company.
Okay.
Is that really the
But
company's
she's still
name?
out there singing and stuff?
Yeah.
Because I
leading
can
worship.
remember her when I was younger.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
she's-
love listening to her. I don't know that I have a favorite song or something that means more. Lyrics are super powerful. So, I mean, you've seen me get emotional on stage, and it's like, you know, it just hits you. Or you know what people are going through. And
Yes.
so you watch them worship, and it's
Yes.
like, wow, they have nothing to be happy about, but here they are praising God.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
That gets me.
That's why this week when Nick had his hands in the air and they were doing that, when mountains move and giants
Yeah.
fall, and I'm like, if I could just jump up there right now, because lyrics like that, there's just
Yeah.
something
get
about
ya.
to remember those things.
yeah.
God who moves
Well, and then
mountains.
you sing songs like Bring the Rain. I am not singing that. I don't want the rain. No, thank you.
right.
Right. Yeah.
All right, Tammy Gass. Love both of them and all they do for Life Church and His kingdom. Thank you for your servant's heart and all you do.
Wow,
Wow,
Tammy
you've gotten a
Gass,
lot
that's
of-
the first time she's been
Tammy.
on.
Yeah, I think
that she's
so.
ever said anything.
I think there's another one that's the first time too. All right, Lisa Leist. Oh my goodness. Love this gem on earth. That is what she said.
You were like rereading it to think
I
it
know,
wasn't
yes,
right.
because I was very confused. And she has a pink heart. What is her advice on keeping a genuine smile through life?
Oh,
I know that's a good one.
Are you naturally a joyful person? No, I'm just asking.
waiting for the peanut gallery to come
But
on.
he nodded.
Oh,
Yeah, he agreed.
Yeah, so you would say you're a naturally
I think so.
joyful person.
yeah.
We all
I'm
have
an
moments,
encourager.
though.
I was a cheerleader growing up, so it's
Definitely.
Yeah, so maybe you and
Ingrained
Jenny
in
should
me.
get up and do a couple of those. Like,
We should. We
Yeah.
should.
Remember when you used to do those, Jenny?
just, I know the Huntington
Oh,
North fight song.
the kick when I
Yeah,
did the
like you would do the- Nice.
yeah,
You know, and you do the
clapping.
the
That's
little
been a
thing where
long
you put your
time.
hands like this so it makes that certain noise.
Yeah.
You do know the fight song?
I do.
Oh my gosh,
Are you gonna do it at the
forever.
end?
We may have to.
We may have to.
Yes.
I just need to see
that
it
would
once
be
and then
a
I'll be
round
good.
table first. Do you know it?
I mean, yeah, I do know it. I did it for 4 years.
We've made some
so-
adjustments. I've been coaching for 5 years,
Oh,
so
well,
we've made some adjustments.
This will
but
make sense.
It'll be close. Okay.
From Ashley Dorsett.
Oh,
My question for Heather is, if you are being completely honest with yourself, would you say hip hop is really your lifestyle or not so much?
oh my
She'll
gosh.
understand.
I love her. So I showed this video to my cheerleaders. It's like from the 80s
Okay.
because we were dancing and they looked white, and I needed them.
Oh gosh.
I needed them to like move in a way
Yes.
that was a little more hip hop. And so
Feel
at
their
the very
body.
end of this video, this lady who is not hip hop at all goes, hip hop, it's a lifestyle. So that's kind of been my mantra.
Oh, so you say that to them?
So
I
did
do.
you?
Hip
So
hop is a
did you
lifestyle.
model the like hip hop movement?
Of course I did.
So you got it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she
Yes.
does. She taught the dance class for
Oh, yeah, I did Fuego
Champs.
out at Champs.
Yeah, for like
Wow.
ever.
Yeah.
Listen, we have got to save enough time for a little dancing and a little
That would be amazing.
Huntington North fight song
Oh, yeah.
stuff at the end.
All
We have
right.
to have some music coming in though.
Music coming in?
Yeah, a little hip hop music, so you both can get up and show us your
Little
non-white
lifestyle.
Oh, I'm
movement.
down.
Yes.
All right, from a number that is not saved, I apologize. They want to know, has being in a teacher/coach position taught you anything new about Christ?
Oh, yeah. I actually, there's been some trouble in paradise lately.
Really?
Coaching high school girls is just hard. And trying to love them and show them how to love each other when they don't always agree with each
Especially
other.
high school
That's hard.
girls.
Yes.
Yeah. I think being able to just humble myself, and I don't have to be the boss. I don't have to be the person in charge. I'm leading them. I'm not bossing them. You know,
Yeah.
that has taught me a lot. And I'm in school right now to get my admin license. And so I've learned a lot about leadership and being an encourager without being a boss. Like there's a big difference between,
360-degree leadership.
yeah.
Do they have you read that book yet?
No, but I've heard of that one.
Yes, that's a good one because that's the whole concept of it all. Like,
Yeah.
are you okay being a leader when you're not the boss? Right?
Yeah.
Or how do you be a leader?
Servant leadership has
Yeah.
been a big theme throughout the program.
Interesting. All right, from Karen Bennett. She also has good questions. What are the top few things parents can do or not do to help their children be successful in class?
Ooh, in class.
I think
In class.
support the teacher.
Ooh, yeah.
Don't ever say anything negative about the child's teacher in front of the child.
Does that happen a lot?
That happens
Yeah.
a lot. And
Does
the
it
kids will
really?
come to school and say, well, my mom doesn't like you. Or
No, they
"My mom-"
don't.
I've heard that from my
For
mom.
real. They
aunt,
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Or my mom says you're stupid and whatever. I've even
Yeah.
had my dad says if you did your job right, we wouldn't have homework.
Oh,
I mean, it's just stuff like that.
Like
So I think
stupid stuff.
And if you disagree with the teacher, fine.
Yeah,
you know,
for
I'm
sure.
an adult. If you disagree with me,
Yeah.
come and talk to me about
Yeah.
it. That's
Right.
fine. But yeah, don't bash me in front of your kid.
Yeah, it taints them.
Right.
Really.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow, I would never thought that.
Yeah.
Kids have enough guts to come and say, my mom and dad said.
And there we go. Those are the questions.
Awesome.
Okay, so let's do the fight song.
Yeah. No, she would need to show it to me first.
Yes! We knew it. Oh, yeah, I did it for, I did it for 4 years. I mean, what's the big deal? I did it for 4 years. Sure, I know
I
it.
said she would need to show me one time and then I could do it.
And then we can do a RoundTable short or
Yeah,
something.
because they want
Okay.
Nick back.
Do you
they
even
want
know
Nick
how
back,
it
so he'll just
starts?
come back on. Na 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 na. Hey,
Go, mighty Vikings. Praise.
Love it. No,
been
it's
a
okay.
long
get it.
time. It
I
has been
know.
12 years and some drugs. Okay. Gosh, guys.
We'll cut you some slack.
Yeah, but I knew the beginning of the song.
No, I just think it's good. Yeah, that would be good. We'll come back, put a little hip hop
We can do
music
it out
on.
on Champs.
Huh?
We can do it out in
No,
Champs.
I know. This could be like
We can have a
an
race while
added
we're at it.
thing to the podcast.
Added bonus.
Yeah,
Yes.
added like this is the bonus round.
Yes.
I love
with
it.
Yeah.
bloopers.
Huh?
With
Oh,
bloopers.
we're
Yeah,
there will
ton-
for
we have
sure
tons
be
of
bloopers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Heather, we're gonna again love to get to know you more. Love to see what God's doing in your life and what He's going to do. Because it sounds like a lot of things coming down the pipe. You're doing new things through education.
Mm-hmm.
Kids are getting older, so you're starting these new chapters in life and lots of things happening there. So we'll continue to be praying for you and the things that are happening. Obviously, everybody loves to see you up on the worship team and what
Yeah.
you're giving back to the church in that way. And again, we just thank you for being on. Thank you for sharing your life with us. And thank you for your servant Life Church. And obviously, the community thanks you for being a teacher and a coach who cares about kids, because I would say it's a rare commodity in the day that we live in today. So thanks
Yeah.
for being with us. Jenny, don't forget the number. 'Cause
I wasn't
almost
going to. You
2
did.
weeks
I
in a
know.
row. 2 weeks in a row. I almost forgot to
It's
number.
okay. It's all good. So text podcast to 260-408-8383 because we want to be in contact with you. We want your questions, engagement, all that good stuff. And when I put this out on social media, like, share, comment, do all the good things because we want it out there and we want more people to see it.
And if you want to be a guest.
And if you want to be a guest, yes.
Yeah, because we just decided beforehand we had Heather's
My
kids
boys.
Oh, that's
on,
right. That's right.
You
Yeah.
know, and we were doing some fun podcast stuff.
You guys were.
Huh? That was
were.
a lot
Oh,
of
yeah.
fun.
Yeah,
That's
boys
what I'm
were
saying.
loving
Like
it.
bring them
Yeah,
on
They're
and
funny.
change it up a little bit.
A bird as a quarterback.
Huh?
You
Yeah,
said
they
bird
wanted the
as a
top-
quarterback.
Well, they were coming up with cool ideas, like the top
They
5
were.
animals you would have on your football team. Like, who thinks about that? Like, this is the kind of stuff I could sit around and think about all day long.
You did. You sat and you blended in well. They're
I'm
fun.
a kid. That's the
I
problem.
know.
I'm a kid at heart.
You're like,
Still.
listen, I'd have this and then I'd have this.
I know.
An
I go right
elephant
along.
has
Yeah, the elephant is the
Speed
fullback.
goat.
The eagle was going to be the quarterback.
Speed goat.
The speed goat.
I don't remember what it was.
Roadrunner, but here-
Road runner.
Yeah, but here's the deal. So we had Roadrunner as a wide receiver, but then they put a cheetah as the quarterback or the corner, you know, which guards the wide receiver. So
Yes.
the cheetah would eat the Roadrunner.
Right.
Yeah.
So
That's
you're
perfect
dead.
because I love
Yep.
defense and hate offense. So it's awesome. Let the
gosh.
cheetah eat. Let the cheetah eat.
Yes. Let the cheetah eat. And they came in for it.
Yeah, good. All right. So again, thanks Heather
Yeah.
for joining us. Thanks everybody for that has been watching or that's been listening. Hope we continue to share and like and get it out there as we continue to try to figure out how to influence into not only your lives but into the lives of other people. So thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.